Alan Hoek in Decentraland says, do you think ledgers are safe? No. Truly, I would probably rather keep my Bitcoin on Coinbase than use a ledger. True. And, technically speaking, if you wanted to dive into it, ledgers are probably somewhat safe. I just don't trust them. There's been too much negative press. There's been too many incidents in the last couple of years, and just like sneaky things, like they're releasing updates without really telling people what they are. There's a whole bunch of leaks in terms of people having access to their contact info. I don't love it. I think that there are much better options out there, and for not that much more money. It's not like a ledger's $100 versus a cold card's $5,000, right? Like the gap in cost wise is very small. So I just don't understand why somebody would use a ledger over a cold card or a Passport or a Blockstream Jade. I think those are kind of the three top ones that I would advise people to use. But yeah, I mean, if you got a ledger, that's the other part too, is if you do have a ledger, don't feel like you just need to throw it in the garbage if you're getting a cold card. Like keep 1 million sats on there, or 2 million sats, depending on your threshold and your total balance, but keep a small portion on there and just use it as a decoy wallet. So keep that one kind of not out in the open, but the first thing that somebody would find if they came into your house. Put the ledger there as a decoy wallet. Same with Trezor. It's just not worth it to me. Does it work? Yeah. Is it easy to use? Yeah. Is there a good chance you're going to have your Bitcoin at the end of the day? Probably. But I just don't see why anybody would half-ass their Bitcoin security. I don't. Whether that's that's all I'll say. There's just no sense in half-assing it. If there's one thing in life that you should be taken seriously, it's your Bitcoin security setup. And it does require an investment. That's what you have to keep in mind here, is that it does require an investment. And that investment could be either your time, spending a bunch of time figuring out what to do, figuring out who you can trust online, or hiring somebody to help you with it. And again, if you are looking for some help with that, if you are somebody listening to this who could use that, then just reach out to me. Very, very reasonably priced compared to some of the competition out there. That's what I'll say on that. I see Rick here in the chat. We need more smashing of the likes. He's absolutely right. It's Monday. Let's help a brother out here. What do we got? We got 37 people in here. 11 likes. Oh, that's tough. That's 1/3 of people watching. Then we got the Zap stream. They're sending some real value over there. I got to move over to sats.gg because I don't think everything's pulling through properly here. Okay. Sachi says using a ledger in a multi-signature setup would be the only way I would use that. Yeah, that's a good idea too. Truly, if you're somebody with a ledger or a Trezor right now, it probably wouldn't be the worst idea if you're going to be setting up a multi-signature in the future to use one of those devices as your third one. Yeah, so that means that even if they were to gain access to your ledger or your Trezor, or somebody were to find it, or something happened behind the scenes, then your Bitcoin's still safe because it requires at least two signatures to move any Bitcoin out of there. So that's a great point from Sachi. If you have one of those devices, just hang on to it, use it as a decoy for now. And then once you get to the point where you're going to be setting up a multi-signature setup, then just use that for one of the devices, one of the three. It is compatible with that.